make our way down onto our backs. Part of our focus today, actually the majority of it is on the spine itself. And so take a moment to pay attention to the spine. Try to almost trace it one vertebrae at a time. Let's start at the sacrum. Feel the connection of the sacrum down into the earth. And imagine that you could feel the part of the sacrum that connects right to the hips. And then the very top of the sacrum where the vertebrae begin to stack, the lumbar vertebrae, the big ones. And feel how the lumbar vertebrae have a little slight arch to that low back. So feel that curvature. And then feel how when the rib cage starts, the curvature switches. And you begin to feel the ribs and the middle and upper back connecting back to the earth again. Feel each and every one of those. And continuing to imagine you're tracing further up the spine. Start to feel the connection up to the shoulders. Feel that transition to the cervical spine when the arch happens again. The neck arching away from the ground. Those are the three different arches of the spine, switching direction between the lumbar, the thoracic, and the cervical spine. And then feel the head resting back down to the earth. Feel all the points of your body that are connected down to the ground. And feel this beautiful groundedness just by resting. Take a moment to allow the breath to deepen down into the belly. Feel the belly rise. And notice if that affected the spine at all, affecting the vertebrae. Maybe the arch changes just a little bit when we breathe in and when we breathe out. It fascinated me the first time that I learned that even the sacrum flexes backwards a little bit with our inhale, and then it comes back inward for the exhale. So even that is affected by our breath. We don't breathe clear into our pelvis, but even that area of our torso is affected by the breath. So take a couple of breaths just to feel the inflation. The nice slow exhale, and even allowing a pause after the exhale. Another couple of breaths just like that. And here we take a moment as we're breathing to connect with our intention, which is this mobility and flexibility, but of the spine. In the body, we usually think of flexibility like with the hamstrings, because you can immediately feel that going on. In the spine, the mobility is slightly different in that our goal with mobility of the spine is to not lose mobility. Usually children are super mobile in their spine, and their spine just never hurts them. It feels good. They can easily do a back bend. All of that feels really good through their spine. And fast forwarding, if you talk to an 80, 90, 100-year-old person, a lot of times they lose a lot of their mobility. They definitely can't arch backwards. Even twisting, like to drive a car, they have to rotate their neck and turn their torso to be able to see if the lane is safe, and they start to lose that. Now the thing is, we lose it when we don't use it. And so here today, we're using our spine, using our vertebrae, using that entire range of motion, and just playing with it in very gentle ways with whatever our range is today. So that way we don't lose it. We keep our spine mobile. So that's our intention today, health of our spine. And so with this idea, let's take 3 more breaths, inhaling to feel how the breath affects the spine. And a wonderful exhale, just relaxing it out with a pause. 2 more deep and full, just like that. Let's start to take our knees in toward the chest. With a hand on each knee, we can rock around so that we feel the low part of the spine. Feel that part rocking and rolling and moving all about. Beautiful. From here, we're adding a little bit of activity to the core to help us start to strengthen the muscle groups all around it. And remember, core is not just abs, it also includes all the way to the back. Starting to feel that structural support to the spine. Let's start to lengthen our legs up to the sky and also reach your arms up. From here, imagine that your left hand and your left foot are connected and your right hand and your right foot are connected. And then what we're going to do is the right side lowers down as the left side starts to come closer toward your head, and then we switch it out. The left arm and leg go down, the right come up. And so feel it almost like your hands are a puppet strings for the feet. Starting to pull it and work it all one side at a time. Do a nice exhale each time a leg comes back up. Exhale. Exhale. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1. Good. Both knees back into the chest. Twist both knees over to the left. And the arms begin to open out, spreading wide to try to get as much of this thoracic spine, the rib cage, down onto the floor, as much as surface area as you can possibly get to touch. As we start to return the knees back up, our core is going to engage and try to get it to be the contraction of the core that starts to lift the knees up, and then the contraction of the core, that gentle release, sends the knees to the other side. So feel the spine opening up to the other direction now, as if we're trying to stretch all the way down to the shoulder. Contraction of the core again lifts the knees back up, and then drop this left foot down, right leg stretches up to the sky. Let's add just a little bit of flexibility through some of the large muscle groups of our body, making some of our other stuff to come up easier. And remember that the big, huge muscles on the legs and the glutes are stronger usually than the back muscles. And so just notice how stretching through the legs can help the back become a little bit more mobile. People with a stiff low back, oftentimes if they start stretching their hamstrings a little bit more consistently through the day, oftentimes it helps with their low back pain significantly. Now overstretching can also overstretch that low back, but just enough. Okay, now take right ankle onto left thigh. Let's give that left side a hug. And essentially set up that right leg like a triangle. So we're reaching around the left side. Hug it in, give it a couple of really good breaths. we release, both legs straighten up to the sky. Try to slide the hands maybe up to the thighs, up to the calves, maybe all the way up to the ankles. Good straight legs as deep as both legs can go together. And then we set this right foot down. Continue to stretch the left leg a little bit deeper. This ankle comes up onto the right thigh, hands hug around the right side. One more good breath. And with our exhale, we're going to release. Again, take both legs up to stretch, sliding the hands up the back sides. Releasing the hands, the feet bend, the knees bend, the feet plant, and we're taking a bridge pose. Remember, in bridge pose, the knees don't just lay open. Instead, there's that slight squeezing inward of the inner thighs. So hands rest down to the ground. Let's roll up one vertebrae at a time. Feel the articulation of the spine. Exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time. This is building good awareness by literally trying to touch one of the bumps on the back, down at a time. That's a vertebrae. Rolling up and exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Taking 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bringing the knees back into the chest. Now we're going to do a little test for our spine to help teach us about how balanced we are between the left and the right sides. What we're going to do is close our eyes, and we're going to do rolling like a ball, up 6, maybe 7 or 8 times, depending on how fast you do it. You're going to keep your eyes closed, because oftentimes what will start to happen is people will start to turn themselves to one side without even realizing it. So you're gonna roll like a ball, just count 6, 7, or 8 times. And then when you finish that last one, just set your feet down, open your eyes, and see where you ended up. Okay, so we're trying that a couple of times now. Eyes are closed. Roll all the way into the back, feel that nice massage, roll back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, unless you want some bonus, in which case take maybe 1 or 2 more. When you come up, just plant the feet and see where you ended up. Did you scoot? Did you turn? This just tells us about not only the leg muscles, but it also tells us how our spine is doing on our back. Do we tend to favor one side? Do we tend to rock and always compensate on one side? That test will oftentimes tell you how your body's doing right there. So with that, it's just a little bit of awareness that we're building in our body. With that, let's begin to rotate the knees open into a nice cobbler's pose. Our hands are either behind us so we can lift up tall, or we can start to tilt forward and find the beautiful release of our spine up and over. This one's giving our spine a chance to round downward. And so just build awareness. How do you feel the muscles affected when you're rounding down like this? Oftentimes, if I let the head be completely relaxed, it really pulls so that all the little tiny muscles all the way up the spine are affected by this. Just notice what areas are the tightest feeling for you right here. tall. And then from here, pick both knees back up. The feet are planted. Our hands are grabbing onto each knee. And this is going to help us take an arch to our spine up and forward. So heart travels forward. The shoulders relax backwards. Even the head tries to be a long angle to the rest of the spine. Feel the arch happening as much as the heart is capable of. 2 more breaths. Good. Coming back up into a strong position where the abs and the back, this entire core is taken back over. And then from here, we're either going to take this easy version, holding on to one knee at a time, the opposite hand circling up and back. Feel a slight arch to the spine as you bring the arm around. And then back forward, a slight curl. Up and back, arch, and then curl. Or if you want to make it harder, you're going through a boat pose, trying to include as much of a straightening and arching, and then a slight curl, tucking it in. You can even let go of hands. That's the hardest version. Exhale anytime you're back through the center. The inhale goes through the rest of it. Three, 2, 1. Good. Setting the feet back down. Our right arm crosses onto the left side. Our other hand is behind us. We straighten the spine up to then rotate. And as we're rotating, take it one spot at a time. First, let the cervical spine rotate. So you're just really gazing over the shoulder, that's all. Then see how much of the shoulders can rotate. How much of the sternum can you get to rotate? And even the belly button. Now we're not trying to pop our spine into a bad spot. We're not trying to overuse the muscles. We're trying to get right to our normal range of motion, and then just beyond that into a stretch. Take another good inhale. And exhale, the belly button starts to come back. The shoulders relax back toward the knees a little bit, and the head returns back. Okay, so second side, get the left arm set up, the other hand behind you, and then gaze your head over the right shoulder. Let the right shoulder continue to get pulled backward. And then think of the ribs rotating and even the belly button coming with you. Inhale, try to lengthen taller. Exhale, see if there's just a little bit more give. Again, not pushing it too much, just stretching it. Good, release. And just come to a normal cross-legged position. Let's take a moment for our neck. So helping the cervical spine in particular, we're gazing over one shoulder, however far the neck wants to go. And then gazing all the way back forward, over the other shoulder, and back. At the farthest spot, as you feel the jaw really getting pulled over the shoulder, you should feel a deep stretch in the muscle that connects kind of up to the ear and the side of the jaw. And then you relax back forward for that complete release. Take it a few more times to each side. Finish your last cycle, and then return back forward. We're lifting the chin up. We're not crunching the bones on the back. There's a lot more height than that. Instead, we're just lifting to stretch the fleshy tissue on the front of the throat, that thyroid, that good fleshy stuff right there. Usually if I jut my jaw forward, I'm able to stretch that front of the neck a bit deeper. Then start to relax. Drop the right ear over the right shoulder. This left shoulder, I'm trying to pull it down. Sometimes it's helpful for people to hover the left fingers off the left to help that out. That's a great option if you'd like. Let this right ear drop a little bit behind the right shoulder. This tilts the jaw up just a little bit. And then bring the ear back over the shoulder. Ear drops forward of shoulder, the nose starts to rotate down. And begin to drop the chin all the way down to the chest. Pausing there for a moment, this stretches the back of the neck. Head starts to roll back up. Let the left ear go over left shoulder. Pausing there. Maybe the right fingers go away, or maybe you're doing fine just dropping the shoulder down without. The head rotates slightly behind the shoulder. The jaw comes up just a bit. Ear rotates back over the shoulder. Start to gaze down, coming slightly in front of the left shoulder. And then rotate the chin all the way back down to the chest one more time. Good. Head slowly returns back up. Now from here, anything that the chest does as we do some chest circles here, the neck is going to try to do the exact opposite of that. So if the chest is going forward, the head and the neck is trying to go backwards. When the head is backwards, the head's trying to go forward. So it's going to be constantly in opposition to it. Go at a slow enough speed that you're not giving yourself whiplash. Like you could even go super, super slow motion so it's more like a neck roll. It's just your torso rolling the neck instead. And so what we're going to do, I find it easy to start backwards. So keeping the hands on the knees, begin to cave the chest in. The head rolls forward, you feel that neck stretch. Start to roll the ribs to one side, maybe ribs to the right, head to the left. As the chest goes forward, the chin starts to lift. As the ribs go to the left, the head goes over right shoulder. And then spine backwards, chin down. Let's reverse the direction right away. And just feel the whole spine loosening up, but especially the neck. Go nice and slow, very gentle with that part of the spine. Always know if you have any sort of neck injuries that are not in a stable enough place where you should be moving the neck, always, make any sorts of changes to your practice to keep you in the best healing condition. So sometimes that means you're just going to stay stiff with the neck as the rest of your spine rolls around. So with this neck focus, take one more circle to each direction. Take the next circle to each direction, focusing on the heart. How far can the heart go forward? Really deeply exaggerating that. Good. And then imagine the next circle to each direction is all about the lumbar spine. This one can't move as much because it's close to the base, but see if you can imagine the lumbar moving itself all the way through a circle and then all the way around the other direction. Good. When you finish that one, let's come up to a high kneeling position. From here, we're going to practice with back bending just to help our spine out. Now know that you're welcome to leave a hand at your hip the whole time. This is the way to keep it safe. Occasionally there's people that can drop their hand down toward the ankle, the heel area, and that's fine too. You choose the difficulty for your body. So let's start off with the left hand by the back side of the hip, or left fingers already aiming down. The hips go forward, helping to stretch that lumbar all the way forward. The right arm is going to circle all the way up and then point it backwards as if you're trying to gaze straight back behind you. Good. Right hand rises directly up. Notice how from there it's easy to lift right back up to this high kneeling position. Switch it out. Right hand to the low back or to the heel. The hips push forward and we gradually begin to circle our spine up, gazing directly back as far as we can. And then gradually all the way back up. Let's take it once more to each side. Left hand to hip or heel. Right arm forward, up and back. And then returning. Right hand dropping down, left hand circling. And return. Good. From here, we're going to start aiming the crown of the head to be set down onto the ground in front of the knees, while each hand grabs onto each heel. From there, the hips lift up, and what we're doing is trying to push the thoracic spine, the rib cage, forward, rounding onto the crown of the head. Feel that stretch through the shoulder blades. It's like our shoulder blade wings are getting pulled further and further apart. Good. Start to set the hips back down. Arms stretch forward, normal child's pose. Beautiful. Coming up onto hands and knees. What we're going to do is bring ourselves alternating back and forth between more of a child pose position and more of a plank, more of a, I guess, kneeling plank variation. And what we're going to do is kind of undulate through our whole spine. So when we're sitting all the way back, we're going to find ourselves in a rounded position like a cat position. We round up through the vertebrae, up through the upper back, and then we end up, when we're in the plank, into more of an arch, even like a cobra. Thinking of the cow. And now from the cow, we're going to gradually undulate the hips back, so this brings it to more of the true cow. And then that arch brings the hips all the way back down until when the hips set down, we're rounding backwards. So alternate, undulating through the spine like this, rounding forward until you open up into cobra. Hips travel back through cow and all the way back until you round. Let's do 3 more of those, really moving through the whole spine. All the way up, and then all the way back. Here's 2. And 1. Good. Rest in child pose, 3 or 4 extra breaths. Coming back up to a kneeling position, we're going to set our chin and our chest down. The elbows try to squeeze in so that eventually they're lifting directly up and back rather than trying to go wide. So gradually set the chin down and the chest and try to hover there right at that spot. You could just completely relax and feel the hips lift, but see if you can keep the elbows squeezing in. It's almost like you're trying to get your chest to hover like a millimeter above the ground, just squeezing in just slightly. Feel that strength, feel the hips lifting high, feel even the throat stretching out. Beautiful. From here, wiggle the knees backwards until the hips can settle down to the ground. We take a Sphinx pose, elbows plant in front of us, hands drag back, heart gets pulled forward and through. Swivel the right hand in to prop you up, left hand circles around to grab the left foot. Once you're there, if you have the ability to set the hip back down, set it down. See if for a moment you can push the foot into the hand, lifting that left knee off the ground, and then completely relax, pulling the toes in toward the glute. If you can even square the shoulder forward, you can start to pull a nice shoulder stretch. Good. Release this side. Circle the right hand all the way up and back to grab the toes. Try to set the hip back down. And then kick the right foot into the right hand. Feeling that lift off the ground for a moment. And then relax it back down. Pull the toes in. A nice quadricep stretch. Beautiful. Start to release. Find the hands on the ground. Sorry, hands hovering above the ground. And from here we do 10 pulses. Inhale, upper back lifts up. Exhale, it relaxes back down. Feeling that strength through the vertebrae. Inhale, 9. Exhale, down. Keep the toes on the ground. 8. 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Tuck the toes, lift up. Maybe you're going through a child pose for a moment, or maybe lift your hips all the way up to this down dog shape. It's starting to lift high. Feel the spine getting pulled long. So we're not rounding forward. We're not like a cat here. We're also not overarching like a cow. We're at the nice long spine place, shoulders pushing back just a bit, even bending knees if we need to get to that shape. 2 more breaths right here. Good. From here, right leg begins to float all the way up to the sky. Feel yourself arch the spine a little bit like a cow. And then start to curl the knee all the way in toward the nose like a cow. Or sorry, cat spine, rounding. Lift it back up, feel the arch like a cow. And then this time, slow motion, set that right foot up in between your hands. Stay lifted on the back toes unless you don't have balance there. And try to reach the arms up to the sky to a high lunge shape. From here, the hands go down to the heart. We start to twist the left elbow around to try to catch onto the outside of the right thigh, pushing our hands into one another for a really good spinal twist. Know that if you need to set the back knee down for better balance, that is allowed here. The lifted version is a harder one. Slow motion unwind, bringing the arms all the way back up, a slight arch backwards. Planting the hands all the way down to the ground. Step this foot back. We drop the knees down, lowering knees, and then chest, and then chin. Pause in this arch for a moment. And then slither forward and through up to cobra. And up to down dog. Remember, pay attention to the spine, the whole motion. What is it doing? Left leg starts to float all the way up. Pause there for a moment. Curl that left knee in toward the nose. Fill the spine like a cat. Lifting it back up, try to arch like a cow. Back in, knee toward nose. And back up. And the next time, slow motion, step all the way through. Again, if you need to drop the back knee down and just be right there, that's great. Otherwise, high lunge shape, fingers start to reach all the way upward. Bring the hands down toward the heart. Try to hook the right elbow onto the left thigh, pressing the hands into one another so that the shoulders, the belly button, and even the neck, if possible, try to twist upward. Slow motion with control, try to unwind, circling the arms all the way back up. A nice inhale. And exhale, hands start to plant. We step this foot back, dropping the knees, the chest, and the chin. Pausing there for a moment. Feel that low back arch, trying to lift the hips higher. And slither forward and through to a cobra. If a full cobra is too much, you can be partway there. That's okay too. Good. Sending the hips back, just a couple of breaths in a child's pose. Okay, coming back up to a kneeling place. Let's lift our knees up, downward facing dog. Right leg arches back up to the sky, feel the spine arch. Curl the knee in toward the nose. Lifting it up to knee to nose. Last one, arch and around. And then just set the right knee directly down. Swivel the right toes off the right edge of the mat so that we can be in a nice kneeling half moon pose. Trying to float that back foot level with the hip. From here, to feel the spine undulate, what we're going to do is bend the knee behind us and try to shoot the toes as far back as we can through a little arch in the spine. And then bring the knee in toward the nose. Good. And so what we're trying to do, keep the shoulders as the steady point. So we're sloping down, shoulders don't really round that much, but it's the rest of the spine that gets pulled back and forward. Let's repeat 3 and in, 2 in, 1 in. Set the hand down, set the knee down, lift up to downward facing dog. Second side, left leg floats. Feel the spine arch just a little. Curl the knee in toward the nose. And 2. Curl. And 1. Curl. Set the knee directly down. Coming to the kneeling half moon pose on the other side. Again, the left hand on the ground and this line all the way up to the right hand of the sky is the steady pull. It's the rest of the spine that's going to move back and forth. So try to really establish that steady, firm foundation. We're lifting the back leg up, bend the knee, and then a couple of times, 5 times. We send the legs as far backward as the low back can arch, and then curl the knee in as much as the low back can arch. Coming back 4, and forward. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Setting it all down. Take our downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up high. Start to walk our feet up toward the top of the mat, a nice forward fold. Inhale, arms travel up through the sides. Stretch up, arch back. Hands to the heart. Once hands are at the heart, open the elbows like cactus shape and bringing the heart forward and through, pull the elbows back. This stretches through the pectoralis area of our body. Good. Turning this into a breath. Exhale, touch the forearms together, the spine rounds back. Inhale, elbows pull back, heart forward and through. 4. And inhale. 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful. From here, drop the right hand down to the right thigh, circle the left hand up and over. When our first times today, really getting into the lateral body, leaning directly to the side. Start to rise up, drop that hand down, circle up and over to the other side. And back up. Taking a goddess pose, we do those same things we just did with a little bit more of a challenge because we're squatting down a little bit. Remember, our spine is still directly up and down. We're not leaning forward at all from here. So spine's up tall, core and the entirety of the core, even the back, is nice and engaged. We're squatting down to a level that is challenging us a little bit, but it's not too much. We're not gonna like lose control of our breath and start panting. So from here, we've got 5 cycles of cactus arms. Elbows pull back, heart arches slightly forward, and round, touching forearms together. Inhale. Exhale. 4. 3. 2. 1. Good. Dropping the right hand onto the right thigh. Start to slide it down. Left hand circles all the way up and over. And just continue to slide the hand as far down as it wants to go. If this is pretty easy, just start to bring the right tricep toward the inner thigh. Maybe the fingers can go toward the ground. We're stretching up and over. Start to straighten the right leg. Straighten the left leg. And opening the chest back up. Notice we found ourselves in triangle pose. Good. Reach back over. Bend the knees back down. And slow motion, try to keep contact of that right arm with your body as you slowly slide back up. Good, both arms up, second side, left hand down. Maybe you're just taking the hand under the thigh, or maybe you know you want to put the hand down to the inner thigh and go directly down. So whichever version of going down you're doing, you're leaning the body laterally as you slide the hand down. Good. That deep side body stretch. Start to straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg. The hand pulls directly upward, shoulders rotating open. Good, bending the legs again. Feel that connection of the left arm to the body, and slowly slide back up. Beautiful. From here, straighten the legs, heel toe the feet in or jump in. We're coming back up to the top edge of our mat. And from here, float this right knee up in front of us. Take it back through a strong warrior three, landing into warrior one, lunge version with the hands sweeping up. 3 cycles of cactus and round. 2, 1. Clasp the hands behind the back. Pull into a shoulder stretch. And dropping the hands downward, we're shifting our weight onto the front straight leg, lifting that back right leg up. Now just land it down, forward fold. Feel your vertebrae rolling up, stacking one at a time, and then the next. Once your vertebrae stacked, circle the arms up, bring them back down to the heart. Pull this left knee, take it back, warrior three, landing lunge, sweeping the arms up, open into cactus, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Clasping hands behind your back. Pull the arms into the shoulder stretch, bowing forward. Dropping the hands down. Hands slide forward as our weight shifts onto right leg, left leg lifting. And plant both feet next to one another. Spine gets a chance to relax hip. We're starting to slow down our class. We've got one last hard thing to each side. So let's travel into that, and then we get nice, beautiful stretches the rest of class. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs, half lift. Feel the spine long and stacked. Exhale, sliding hands back down. Hands are planting even if you had to bend the knees to get there. Start to walk back into plank position or kneeling plank. If you're doing kneeling plank, from here you're going to swivel open into the kneeling half moon pose that we took a moment ago. If you're doing the full plank, you're going to take a side plank. Trying to stack the feet, get the shoulders over the right arm. Left arm floats up to the sky. Take that left arm into a cactus shape, and maybe the top leg's even like a cactus shape. Trying to just balance here for just a moment. And then hands go down, back through the plank. One more side of that. If you're kneeling, you're in the kneeling half moon on the other side. Otherwise, last side plank with the left hand down. Right hand up. Cactus the arm. Maybe cactus the leg. Good. Setting it down, good work. We're lowering either normal chaturanga or knees, chest, and chin back to the ground, your choice. Sliding up through back bend of your choice. Shifting back, a beautiful child's pose. Feel the breath slow. We've done all of our hard stuff for the day. Float the right hand up to the sky. Thread that right arm under and through. A nice spinal twist. The left hand can stay. It can wrap around the low back, or it can walk forward straight up to the top of the mat. back in, press into it. Second side right away, left arm floats. Thread it under and through. Choose that favorite arm position. Slide right hand in, press up, and just take an intuitive moment, moving the spine in any ways that feel good. This can be cat-cow. It can be wagging your tail left and right. It can be rolling your spine like you're inside of a barrel, trying to trace all the edges. Whatever version of spinal movements feel best, take a couple of extra beautiful breaths to give your spine a kindness. When that feels very complete, let's take ourselves into a beautiful forward fold, both legs out in front of us. Imagine your puppet strings pull your spine up tall, and then all the puppet strings are cut at the same time. You just drop your weight forward. Nice and relaxed. Roll the spine back up to stack. And then start to roll your spine one vertebrae at a time back down onto your back, this resting position. If there's a last spinal movement that you'd like, take it. Maybe you're twisting your knees to each side again. Maybe you're taking a moment with plow pose. You've got lots of options. One that I'm going to take today is clasping my hands behind the head and just letting my head lift up to stretch the back side of the neck. One more time. Whatever movements you're choosing, take them now. You're welcome to explore them for another 30 seconds or so, just helping the body feel really good. Keep on going if you're still exploring through the body. And whenever your spine, all parts of it feel complete, feel your body relaxing into the best version of Shavasana for your body today, whatever that is. Maybe bringing a bolster, a pillow under your knees. Sometimes rolling down onto the belly and just taking the Shavasana there. That's okay too. We spend this time breathing. And once again, just feel how the deep breath affects the spine. It's such a subtle movement, so that's going to be our meditation for the next few minutes. Feel the spine with your breath. Begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually rolling over to a nice fetal position on one side. Just enjoying a few extra breaths right here before we make our way up toward a seated place. Rising up when you feel ready. And as hands join together in front of your heart, right away feel the vertebrae. Feel how tall and stacked they can be. Let's continue forward into this beautiful day with this extra awareness of the spine. How tall of a posture can we maintain through the day? How much strength can we maintain through the core and the back to keep the lift? How much breath can we have clear down into the belly? So with this idea of spine awareness to lead us forward, let's find ourselves wrapping up this time we got to share together today with the sound of Om. Inhaling together now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.